Hi, I'm Bob Bossin. I used to be famous, but my father was infamous. I didn't know that until one day about 40 years ago, I stopped at the United Baker's Dairy restaurant on Spadina Avenue in the old Jewish quarter of Toronto. The counterman looked like he'd been there since the joint opened in 1922, so I asked him if he knew my family.
He said, sure, I knew the Bossins, I knew Art, I knew Hi, Sadie, Celia, Davey. I said, well, Davey was my father. He says, sure, I knew Davey. We used to call him Davy the Punk. Davy the Punk? Why did you call him Davy the Punk? Because he was a punk kid. He was a verbrechter. An outlaw. Well, after that, I wanted to know everything I could find out about my dad. And fortunately for me, the police had felt about the same way. Did a hell of an operation. You could have a drink, place a bet, and buy a chicken. Did he actually sell the chickens? Yeah, sure he did. They were good kosher chickens. But he always kept a few in the back in case of a raid. He had one of the kids out at the street who'd whistle if a cop turned into the alley, and then the old lady, the booba, would come downstairs and they'd put the whiskey bottles in her apron, throw a couple of chickens on top. She'd shuffle down the alley, smiling and nodding at the cop. Then he stuffed his betting slips up the ass of one of the chickens. They never caught him. Trumbull said, Les Sprackland, I'm no Jew boy and man. I don't like you anymore, and I didn't like you then. Sprackland said, babe, Trumbull, the law's the law. You've been running whiskey, and babe, you ain't gonna run it anymore. Warm summer evening, down by the Detroit River. Trumbull meets Mrs. Sprackland, says he's got a tip to give her. Tell that stuck-up preacher if he knows what's good for him, he'll stay away from my whiskey. Good evening, ma'am. She runs straight back to her husband, tells him Trumbull told her. He hightails her Trumbull's place, cold strapped to his shoulder. Mr. Commissioners, there is not one scratch of a pen to indicate that my client is guilty of anything. If he uses 56 telephones to provide members of the public with racing information that they want, I say to you as a lawyer of 37 years' experience, he is not violating any law, criminal or otherwise. David Bossin is within the law in doing what he is doing. Omnia presumuntur rite et solmentatur esse acta donio probatur in contrarium. All things are presumed to be done rightly until it is proved to the contrary. However, my friends, here representing the Bell Telephone Company and the Attorney General of Ontario, would have you change the law so that now things are presumed to be done wrongly, and only when a citizen can prove that they are not does he gain the right to have a telephone. That is what my friend suggests. He says, come along now, Mr. Bossin, and tell us the nature of your business. Knock, knock, who's there? Attila, who? Attila, same joke as last night. And he's laughing 'cause I'm laughing, 'cause he's laughing 'cause I'm laughing, walking with my dad in the twilight. 'Cause me and my dad were taking a walk, we're holding hands all around the block. He buys a cigar, I get an ice cream cone, and it's me and my dad until we get home. All horse players die broke. It's win on the filly, lose on the colt. It's a pawn ticket and a pocket full of tin. The smell of the turf when the day begins. And every 2-year-old could win. Horse players live in hope, but all horse players die broke. Hey, buddy, you got a spare smoke? Would you like one more story?